Step into the hidden Colombian village where magic is woven into the very fabric of the Madrigal family. Their story begins with the matriarch, Alma Madrigal, regaling her granddaughter Mirabel with the enchanting history of their extraordinary family. Alma, along with her true love Pedro and their 3 children, Julieta, Pepa, and Bruno, lived peacefully until the day of the conquistador invasion. When Pedro bravely gave his life to protect his family, Alma's magical candle lit up and sent the invaders packing, creating a wondrous house that would safeguard the Madrigal family and their fellow villagers. But the house wasn't the only thing touched by magic. Each of Alma's children possessed unique abilities, including Julieta's power to heal with her food, Pepa's weather manipulation based on her mood, and Bruno's gift of future sight. However, after too many sad prophecies, Bruno was cast out by his family, leaving behind his mother and sisters. Julieta married Augustine, and they had 3 children, while Pepa wedded Felix, and they also had 3 children. Each of Alma's grandchildren went through a special ceremony where they opened a personalized magical door to discover their own unique abilities. Luisa, Isabella, and Mirabella, the children of Julieta, inherited super strength, perception, and the power to make flowers bloom, respectively. Dolores, Camilo, and Antonio, the offspring of Pepa, received the gifts of heightened hearing, shape-shifting, and nature manipulation, respectively. But when it was time for Mirabel's ceremony, the magical door disappeared upon her touch, leaving her without any special powers. As the family prepares for Antonio's magical ceremony, Mirabel's excitement is palpable, but her own lack of powers leaves her feeling empty and left out. Despite her sadness, she eagerly shares the tales of her gifted family with the curious children of the village, until her own lack of powers is exposed. Mirabel tries to help with the preparations for Antonio's big day, but her family rebuffs her efforts. To make matters worse, her perfect sister Isabella doesn't seem to get along with her. As Antonio steps into the hall, Mirabel's heart swells with pride, and she walks him to his magical door. But as she watches her cousin receive the power to talk to animals, her sadness only grows. Feeling even more left out, Mirabel wanders around the house and notices the enchanted candle starting to fade. Fractured tiles and a falling ceiling further alarm Mirabel, but when she informs her family, they think she's seeking attention. As the festivities wind down, Mirabel's heart feels heavy with the weight of what she witnessed the night before. With her mind racing, she lies awake all night thinking about the weakening magic in their home, Casita. Driven by her love for her family and her determination to save their home, Mirabel sneaks out to check on the enchanted candle. There, she overhears her grandmother Alma's prayer for help to her late husband Pedro. Alma's voice trembles with fear as she confesses her worry about losing their home again. Touched by her grandmother's despair, Mirabel is determined to find a way to save their beloved home, even if she doesn't know how. With a plan forming in her mind, she sets out to gather information about the enchantment's weakening. Mirabel approaches her cousin Dolores, who has superhuman hearing, hoping to extract some information. From their conversation, Mirabel learns that Luisa is also concerned about the events of the night before, and this makes Luisa her next stop. At breakfast, Alma reveals her intention to fast-track Isabella's marriage to Mariano, which leaves Dolores, who has a crush on Mariano, silent. Alma believes that Isabella's marriage will help strengthen the Madrigal family's defense by birthing a new generation of gifted Madrigals. While trying to get Luisa's attention, Mirabel's attempts fail, and Alma interprets it as attention-seeking behavior and pulls her away from Luisa. As breakfast ends and the family disperses, Luisa heads to the town to assist the villagers with her superhuman strength. Mirabel follows her and attempts to get her attention, but Luisa puts up a facade of strength until she eventually breaks down and confesses her insecurities to Mirabel. She reveals that she feels the constant need to prove her strength, especially since Casita's cracks have been causing her to feel physically weak. In an effort to aid Mirabel in her mission to save their family's magic, Luisa advises her to visit Bruno's tower, where Bruno had a vision about the magic fading. Determined to uncover clues, Mirabel climbs up a steep staircase and swings to another ledge, almost falling to her death. In a cave-like structure, she finds pieces of a shattered vision and puts them together to see an image of herself. Before she can react, the room begins to collapse, and she barely escapes with the shards in hand. As she rushes back to her room, Mirabel wonders what this vision could mean for her family's magic. As preparations for Isabella's engagement take place, Mirabel runs into Alma, who is busy making arrangements for the event. Curious about her daughter's sand-covered appearance, Alma tries to strike up a conversation, but their chat is cut short by Luisa's hysterical outburst. Convinced that Mirabel is the cause, Alma sternly warns her not to ruin the engagement and to stay away from Luisa before leaving to fetch Mariano and his mother. Left alone in her room, Mirabel can't shake off the memory of Bruno's vision. As she ponders about her uncle, she's surprised by Peppa's sudden appearance. Despite the family's negative opinions about Bruno and his visions, Mirabel dares to ask about her uncle. However, instead of answers, she's met with a barrage of criticism from both family members and villagers. Feeling frustrated, Mirabel decides to piece together Bruno's vision alone. As she examines the broken shards of the vision, Mirabel is startled to see an image of herself standing in front of a damaged and broken casita. The ominous vision sends shivers down her spine. Before she can decide on her next move, her father enters the room and catches a glimpse of the vision. They both agree to keep it a secret until after Isabella's engagement. However, Dolores, who was eavesdropping nearby, hears everything. As the engagement dinner begins, Mirabella and her father struggle to maintain composure, but Dolores eagerly waits for Mirabella to look away so she can spill the beans. And as soon as Mirabella does, the news spreads like wildfire across the table, causing chaos and panic. Alma once again accuses Mirabella of acting inappropriately, causing new cracks to form in the casita's walls and the Encanto's magic to grow weaker. Luisa, the strongest member of the family, can't even move a piano into the room, and Peppa starts a storm inside the house. Meanwhile, Camillo struggles to control his shape-shifting abilities, and Isabella's unintentional creation of a flower vine accidentally hits Mariano in the face. Disappointed by the display, Mariano's family leaves in a hurry, leaving Isabella livid and blaming Mirabella for the failure. As the concerned villagers gather outside, Alma lies to them, claiming that the magic of the Encanto is still fine. Amidst all the commotion, Mirabella notices rats carrying shards of the vision away and decides to follow them. The rats lead her to what she later discovers is Bruno's hideout behind the walls of the casita. Bruno, who had gone into exile, believed that his gift was causing his family more harm than good. Mirabella pleads with him to take another look into the future, but he refuses. Suddenly, Antonio appears and reveals that he can communicate with animals, and the rats had told him what was happening and where to find Bruno. In the other part of the house, the family is in a state of panic, with Alma calming the villagers and sending others to look for Mirabella. After some convincing, Bruno agrees to have another vision, and the family's fate hangs in the balance. In Bruno's new vision, Mirabel once again sees herself standing in front of the cracked casita, but this time there's a new addition, a butterfly. Suddenly, an image of Mirabel embracing Isabella flashes before her eyes. Despite her initial reluctance, Mirabel realizes that hugging Isabella could be the key to saving Casita, so she decides to give it a try. After the vision ends, Bruno gives Mirabel a pep talk before disappearing into hiding once again. Determined to save her family, Mirabel heads to Isabella's room, hoping to embrace her and end the chaos. However, Isabella is still furious with Mirabel and the two exchange heated words. Middle sister Mirabel calls Isabella selfish, which only serves to further enrage her. Isabella tries to drag Mirabel away with vines, but in the process, she creates a cactus. Isabella acknowledges that the cactus, while not conventionally beautiful like her flowers, is still beautiful in its own way. As Isabella explores the endless possibilities of her powers, she opens up to her sister, admitting that she's always felt the pressure to present a flawless front for the family. As the two sisters talk things out, they hug in front of the enchanted candle, just like in Bruno's vision. Their joy, however, is short-lived when Alma walks in and sees Isabella covered in various colors. Alma immediately turns on Mirabel, accusing her of causing the Casita's breakdown and everyone's out-of-control powers. Mirabel's heart aches as she watches the Casita crumble, the home that has been her sanctuary and symbol of her family's power. In the chaos, her family's abilities fail them and they are forced to flee. As the Madrigals watch the Casita fall, they also witness the last remnants of their enchantment fade away. The family is left powerless and vulnerable. Feeling responsible for the loss of their home and their powers, Mirabel runs away to a nearby riverbank to grieve in solitude. As she sits there, tears streaming down her face, she can't help but think that it's all her fault. The Madrigals frantically search for Mirabel, with Alma eventually discovering her by the river. Alma joins Mirabel by the river, revealing that it's where Pedro died and where the miracle was born. As they talk, Alma confesses that she was so focused on preserving the family's power that she lost sight of what truly mattered. A flashback shows Pedro and Alma's courtship, marriage, and early parenting years, including the creation of the Encanto, before they were forced to leave their home. After reconciling with Alma, Mirabel recognizes the butterfly from Bruno's vision and they embrace, summoning the courage to face the family. Mirabel returns home, and Bruno appears to defend her, but instead, he's welcomed warmly. The family sets to work rebuilding their home, with the help of the community. Isabella and Mirabel even play matchmaker for Dolores and Mariano, and love blossoms between them. When the house is finished, the Madrigals gather to honor each other and praise Mirabel as the unifier. As a way to crown her efforts, the Madrigals give Mirabel a personalized doorknob, which she fits onto the front door. The Encanto is reborn, and all the magic is restored to the Casita and the community. Overcome with joy, the villagers gather, and the Madrigals take a full family photo, this time with Mirabel included. What a beautiful ending to a story about family, acceptance, and the importance of embracing one's unique qualities.